Welcome to FreeMMOStation. I'm Skyley, and today I'm going to give you my first impression, my first look here, a sneak peek at the new expansion for Path of Exile titled Ascendancy.
FreeMMOStation.com.
Alright, so let's get into it. While you guys are watching the footage in the background, which is of course of the new Labyrinth that is introduced here with the expansion, let's go over all the features of this game. Of course, we'll be talking about the Ascendancy Classes, at least specifically the class that I got to play here, but let's talk about the trials of Ascendancy, okay? So, seeking a worthy successor, Emperor Izaro constructed deadly trials throughout the Rai class to find candidates. And this kind of reminds me a lot of, I guess, like, I don't know, Sen's Fortress from Dark Souls. There are traps. Like that's the new thing in this game, Path of Exile. There are traps, there's like blades and spikes and like darts and all sorts of craziness that you have to evade and be aware of as you are bullying and just bulldozing your way through these dungeons. Yeah, normally, I guess, in Path of Exile, especially with a lot of popular builds, you can just kind of hold one button and run through them if you were strategic enough and you built up your character in a certain way. But with this, you won't quite be able to do that anymore. You're going to want to maybe spec in at least a little bit of mobility somewhat. So with the Trials of Ascendancy, with the Labyrinth, you are going to have lots of traps, and you're going to have to be aware of that. You aren't just going to be able to just sit there and face tank a bunch of mobs like you were before if you're standing on spikes and blades and darts and craziness is coming at your faces, because they do some damage. Of course, this is also really interesting. Whenever I was playing, there were like these long periods, almost like an entire dungeon or a floor of a dungeon, and just traps, man. Just traps. And you're basically, it's almost like playing a platformer. And in fact, there were actual platform parts to these dungeons. Like, okay, so my character has a leap. I was able to actually leap onto these platforms, and I was able to get into secrets and shortcuts and stuff like that. So it was just really weird. A top-down action RPG with like platforming type of design. I don't know, kind of interesting. So that's what it is. 6 types of lethal traps have been created by Izaro. He's basically like the main antagonist, kind of, sort of. He kind of like helps you along the way and it explains the lore. I don't know, it's a very interesting character that I want to know more about, definitely. And I don't want to spoil anything, so we're not going to go too much detail with him. But he has basically created this labyrinth, he has created these traps, and it does, on the website it says, an entirely new gameplay type for Path of Exile, and it definitely is, and I definitely appreciated it. So, the Lord's Labyrinth. This is the dungeon that we access here. So, having proved your mettle in the Trials of Ascendancy, you earn the right to enter Izaro's Labyrinth. Centuries have passed, but its traps are as dangerous as the day its doors were first opened. With an entirely new system of generating sequences of random areas, the overall layout of the labyrinth shifts every day, uncovering new puzzles and secrets, which sounds pretty exciting, especially to players who really love the endgame content of Path of Exile and the replayability, and so this is going to give you just a little bit more. Absolutely. So, who is this Izaro person? He's Emperor Izaro, entombed in his own creation, in the labyrinth. Emperor Izaro lives on. With eternal patience, he is waiting for his invitation to be answered. And that's you. That's, as the player, you are the Ascendant who is answering that invitation. So you're going to face Izaro multiple times during the Labyrinth. Like, it's actually like multiple boss fights, and you fight him. And apparently the fight will evolve. Okay, like the final fight, the final climax, or like maybe throughout all the different engagements. I'm not exactly sure, it's kind of vague. The fight will evolve depending on your actions in previous encounters. So I'm not exactly sure what that entails, but that's actually kind of really exciting. Now, let's talk about the Ascendancy Classes. This is something that I think most players are really hyped for. Here is that you can actually sort of like evolve your class, just a little bit more customization, which Path of Exile is known for. So yeah, 19 souls survived the Trials of Ascendancy. 19 men and women stood at the gates of the Lord's Labyrinth. 19 challengers whose exceptional martial and mystical talents still linger long after their death. There are 19 new Ascendancy classes, each with its own additional Ascendancy skill tree to master. Now, I got to play as one, and you're seeing the gameplay from this character here and the Ascendancy tree and everything. Now, we also have enchantments. Izaro's power can also be used to infuse items with powerful magic. These enchantments trigger specific skills and effects to occur on certain conditions. Each time the labyrinth is completed, so you gotta run through the dungeon one full time, you may add one of those enchantments to an item. So, you know, good thing that the labyrinth is very replayable because you're incentivized to do so. Now we also get some new skills. Path of Exile Ascendancy introduces 11 new gems, including 7 skill gems and 4 support gems that encourage new and dynamic playstyles. Let's see, as an example, there's Earthquake, right? This is a skill which slams the ground, healing damage, creating a fissure that explodes in an aftershock after a short duration. And then we also have a skill called Ancestral Protector, right? A new type of melee totem. You're bound to unlock new, unique builds for your characters, apparently with these 11 new gems. Which, of course, man, just adding one gem can change so much with some particular builds. Now we also have a couple of new items, which, looking at their statistics and everything, actually seem very, very interesting. Oh my gosh, let's see. The examples on the website are actually really exciting. I mean, of course, you have add damage, attack speed, blah, blah, blah. But then you have some really interesting effects, okay? Like, here we go. Adds 1 to 3 physical damage to attacks per 25 dexterity. So this is a dexterity bow, but it can summon 1 additional siege ballista totem per 200 dexterity. So the more dexterity you have, if you spec in that, you can actually get a lot out of this particular bow. And, you know, the other weapons are very specialized like that, which is what you want. If you're going for specific builds, you want new items that can sort of be utilized like that. And the game is coming out March 4th, by the way, guys. This is coming out super soon. In fact, by the time you watch this video, maybe it's already out. But there's a lot of hype for this game, and that's why we were asked to do a video. Path of Exile Ascendancy looks pretty fun. Now, hopefully you're seeing the gameplay in the background. It was pretty fun. Now, my thoughts and opinions on it. All in all, I really like the trap concept. I mean, I think it's probably, like, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, that's cute, that's cool, traps, but it really changes a lot. I mean, the way Path of Exile is played, now this is coming from a player who only played the default campaign on normal and a little bit of the first expansion, but for me, most of my characters were just sort of bullies. Like, they just stood in one place and just spammed AoE spells. I think a lot of builds are really like that. I mean, that's kind of how Path of Exile is really played. You know, just there's lots of mobs, you gotta clear the mobs, and you gotta be, I don't know, it's just like that, man. It's kind of a spammy kind of game. So it's really cool to interrupt that sort of flow that Path of Exile is known for. I mean, it's awesome, it's a huge spectacle, but it's really cool that traps are thrown into the mix to, you know, change it up just a little bit, and it made it really fun. And I think it could, I don't know, I think it could make some other builds that weren't quite as viable maybe a little bit more viable, and it might tune down some other builds, might make you want to be a little bit safer, give you, like I said, add some mobility to your build. It's really, really fun, okay, and they really do hurt. Absolutely a really cool aesthetic. Now, I don't know how the bosses are going to be, if the bosses are going to involve traps and stuff like that. I'd imagine that'd be really freaking awesome. But all in all, I do like the expansion. It was kind of interesting, and I do want to play it all the way through. But this was just a first impression. Now you know all the features. You've seen some of the gameplay. Hopefully, existing players, you're pretty hyped. And guys, if you're a new player to Path of Exile, like honestly, I'm a new player, honestly. It's really good. Okay, if you think it's like, you know, oh, I got Diablo, I don't need Path of Exile. No, dude, Path of Exile is its own breed of game. Even though it looks similar to other action RPGs, very much in vein of some of them. Honestly, a lot of people consider it like a Diablo 2 spiritual successor. It's really an awesome game in its own. I think we've done like multiple videos on Path of Exile. It's a really good game, and it really champions the free-to-play sort of like economy, right? Like, it does free-to-play the best. There's nothing pay-to-win about the game. Everything's cosmetic. It's not even that expensive, and all in all, it's a really awesome, replayable co-op action RPG that you can play online with people. I mean, it's not exactly like an MMO or anything, but you can interact with people. And honestly, as a single-player game itself, like, you don't have to play this online. As a single-player action RPG, you know, being the key words here, it's actually really good story. And with Ascendancy, of course, we're getting a little bit more story. I heard a little bit of voice acting. I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, so I'm not going to go too deep into it, but all in all, it was actually really, really awesome. So hopefully this first impression is going to get you new players into the game, and honestly, I think it's going to make me play through the story again, make a new character, and actually go through the expansions and finally complete or ascend to the new expansion here, Path of Exile Ascendancy. So that's basically all I have. This isn't a full review or anything, so that's why I was kind of, you know, casual and stuff, and I was just kind of previewing the game there. And we didn't show too much footage here of the game because, you know, it is a very it's kind of a story-based game, and I think, like, you want to experience the stuff for yourself, which is, you know, I don't know, it's fun. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Sky with FreeMMOStation. Just a preview of Path of Exile Ascendancy. Hopefully you have fun playing, and I'll see you again next time.